I will say let us continue the transmission with your questions, if you wish.
Hi, Bashar.
And a good day.
First, I just want to say you rock.
Well, we're in a good town for that, yes.
Pun intended.
Oh, right, thank you.
And I just think you're awesome. You know, ever since...
Only some awe?
I think you're way awesome.
Full of awe.
Full of awe.
Making us awful.
And you're funny. I think I need to learn how to lighten up more, but
That is the key to enlightenment. Learning how to lighten up on yourself.
Exactly. And that's really cool because that dovetails into what I want to talk about.
How synchronous of you.
And I seem to have a lucky star. I'm at the right place at the right time a lot in my life.
Yes.
And it's getting more and more, and I'm super stoked about that.
Synchronicity increases in that way when you are more in alignment with yourself. It is one of the symptoms of the fourth density transformation, yes.
And I mean, you've changed my life.
No, you've changed your life.
Well, your words and your willingness to come to
It is our pleasure to reflect to you what you already knew but forgot. So thank you for remembering and changing your life.
So with that, I have started to, for the first time in my life, follow my passion.
How exciting!
I'm like really stoked about. And so now I'm in this gorgeous gallery here in Sedona.
All right.
And I've earned this PhD in applied statistics, and it so doesn't resonate with what I'm doing right now, and that's totally okay with me.
Yes.
And the deal is that I knew that I was always an artist in my heart and soul.
Yes.
And I put it like on the top shelf.
Oh, all right.
And so now I'm in these gorgeous, fine art galleries.
Yes.
And I'm working with this crystal in there. I'd like for you perhaps to talk about that if you would be so kind.
Crystal?
Yeah, there's a crystal in the gallery, and
it's a permission slip like anything else.
Yeah, okay. That's exactly what
You understand that concept?
Yeah, intuitively. I don't know if I understand it as much logically, but I do intuitively.
All right, well, permission slip is simply any tool, any technique, any ritual, any object that allows you to give yourself permission to be more of who you are.
And
it aligns with your belief system in a way that allows you to believe that it acts as the catalyst, as the trigger, to simply give yourself permission.
Yeah, okay. And so as I'm more and more allowing myself to have permission to be the highest version of myself,
yes,
reinventing during this year, this really crucial year,
yes,
all these incredible tools that you have disseminated or brought through. Well, I'm in the gallery, I'm selling the art off the walls, and now there's this voice within me that's like, hey, I can do this. Like there's this artist in me.
Yes.
And I'm being asked, I really do think, I'm being asked to be an example because I'm starting to see some shadow sides of the artist.
Yes.
And things that I have judgment on.
No, all right.
And
giving you an opportunity to reveal to yourself those things that might be out of alignment so you can bring them back into alignment. Yes.
For him or for me?
For yourself always, or acting as an example for others if they need to do that for themselves.
Okay, so then I'm on this roll, I'm seeing this now, and now what's going on is like, I feel like I'm begging them for money, like for a commission.
You don't have to beg.
I know, and so I'm going down and I'm looking in my heart and soul, why am I feeling like I have to beg for what I deserve?
Yes, well, why?
I don't know.
Yes, you do.
Well, I know about core beliefs,
yes,
and I know about investigating them, but I seem to somehow have this voice in me that
says
I'm a piece of shit or something, and I don't know why.
All right, well, as we discussed in the pre-recorded section, that is the voice of the critic. It is the father of lies. Yes?
Yes.
Well, why do you believe the lie? What makes the lie seem so convincing?
Maybe because I haven't allowed myself to know what's on the other side of that lie.
And what do you imagine is on the other side of the lie?
A life of that it keeps just getting better and better.
And why is that difficult to believe? We have, for some time now, reminded many of you that one of the greatest shocks you will all have in this age of transformation is that what you have always been taught as a fairy tale is actually the way life works. So we understand that can come as a shock.
Yeah, what it comes as when I'm feeling through it is like the other shoe's going to drop. Like somehow, and again, I know these are beliefs. And
That's all right. You need to perhaps learn the permission slip, the very powerful permission slip, that very mighty, mighty two-word meditation. You know it? Would you like us to tell you the two-word meditation?
Yeah.
So what? So the other shoe drops. So what? It's always an opportunity to neutralize the situation and to give it the meaning you prefer. Always. It doesn't matter how any circumstance is generated. It doesn't matter how anyone else's intention in the circumstance may be directed toward you. Every circumstance and every situation at every single moment is always an opportunity to neutralize it and imbue it with the meaning you prefer. Always. So it doesn't matter what happens because so what? You can always neutralize it. You can always imbue it with a positive meaning. You can always get a beneficial effect out of it. So who cares what it is? Who cares how many shoes drop? Who cares if it's raining shoes? Who cares? Not you.
I love how you bring the shadow out.
Yes.
I love that about you. Well,
It's only by bringing the shadow out and balancing and equalizing it with the light that you get the opportunity to choose from a place of empowerment. When all things are equal, it's easy to choose which side you prefer without invalidating the side that you don't.
so are you saying then, like when I'm in that moment and I'm on a roll and I'm selling all this art off the walls,
Yes.
and I'm feeling like, yeah, but they haven't talked to me about commission, and yeah, but this, that and that point, the way to get neutral rather than go towards that critic, that negative
Yes.
part, is, well, first of all, to be as present as I can.
Absolutely. And to clearly state what it is you prefer without fear, without judgment. Because it's all right to make a clear statement about what it is you prefer as a reciprocation.
Right.
It doesn't involve begging.
No.
It involves a clear statement of what you believe is equal to what it is you are doing. If someone isn't vibrationally aligned with that, you don't need to deal with them, you can deal with someone else.
I think that's where the kicker is, because I feel like I'm affected a lot by if others aren't in vibration, like the owners or anybody in life, then
Yes.
I feel out of control, and then
Yes.
I kind of take a couple steps back from that excitement and that
Yes,
that
but again,
manifestation.
remember, you cannot have any kind of a feeling experience if you don't have a definition you're not buying into first. You understand? If you're buying into the idea that what they're saying is true about you, then you're going to feel unworthy in that way. But the question is, why would you buy into it if you don't prefer to?
I think the question is, for me right now, is it's like time for me to be my highest version.
Yeah, well, that's
And-
not a question, that's a statement.
Yeah, yes, indeed. And there are things that are coming up simultaneously that are not my highest version.
That's all right. That's all right. Again, it's an opportunity to decide what you prefer. Sometimes you attract things that are not what you prefer, so that perhaps by contrast, you get clarity on what you do prefer.
Okay.
You understand?
Yes, I do.
Every situation is an opportunity to clarify yourself. Every single one.
Wow.
Remember, excitement is a complete kit. When you act on the formula of excitement, the three-part formula, you act on your highest excitement to the best of your ability with zero insistence or assumption as to the outcome or how you should get there. When you act on that three-part formula, you open excitement up as a complete kit. That complete kit contains everything that you need to support you in continuing to act on your excitement. It becomes the driving engine of your life, moving you forward in your life in exactly the way you need to be moved. It becomes the organizing principle of your life, synchronistically arranging everything in the correct order you need to do it. It becomes the path of least resistance in your life so that you can simply flow where you need to flow. It becomes the thread that connects to all other expressions of excitement in your life to show you that everything is all interconnected in that way, and that one excitement will always lead to another. But to address what you just said, it also contains the reflective mirror to reflect to you what may be out of alignment with that excitement within you so that you can identify it consciously integrate it, bring it back into alignment, and expand your excitement. So when you act on your excitement, one of its jobs, one of its duties, one of its abilities is to bring your attention to anything within you that is out of alignment, so you can deal with it and bring it back into alignment to expand the excitement. So it's not going wrong if you're acting on your excitement and all these issues suddenly coming up. That means excitement's doing its job. The mechanism is working perfectly for you. Then the more you integrate, the more you align, the less you will need to see those things. It will smooth itself out. It's a self-perpetuating, self-guiding, self-correcting mechanism. It's unerring. Excitement is a complete kit. Complete, complete, complete. By definition, leaves nothing out that's relevant to your life. So whatever it brings you, if you're acting on your excitement, whatever it brings you, in whatever form it comes, must by definition be a part of your path of excitement, not an interruption in it. Make sense?
Yes.
Is this helping?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Yes, I have another thing.
Yes.
Okay. So, I wish I knew about you when I was young.
Why?
Because I feel like I have these patternings that are in me.
Nonsense.
What do you mean?
I'll tell you what I mean. Thank you for asking.
You're welcome.
The definition from our point of view of a pattern or a habit is something you do that you don't know you're doing. If you know you're doing it, it's not a pattern or a habit anymore. It's a choice. So you would ask the question, well, why would I choose something I don't prefer? Great question. Now you have something to work with. But if you just say, it's a pattern, it's a habit, I can't help it, you have nothing to work with.
So then, like someone...
One moment.
Okay, sorry.
One moment. That's all right.
Yeah.
Many people on your planet are taught to think, well, now that I've discovered the pattern, now that I've discovered the habit, now what do I do to let it go? The recognition of the pattern, the recognition of the habit is the end of the process, not the beginning of letting it go. You have to be outside the forest to look back and see that it was a forest. Otherwise, it's just trees. Do you understand?
Yes.
So when you say, oh, a habit, it's done, it's gone, because you're outside of it in order to be able to see it. If you keep doing the same thing, it's not because it's a habit, it's because you're choosing to. Why would you choose to do something you don't prefer? Because you have a definition attached to it that says it is the thing that benefits you the most. Does that make sense? Not at all. So find out what the definition is that makes no sense, that you've attached to the thing you prefer that prevents you from acting on it. That's how it works. You all have the same motivational mechanism. It's unerring, it's automatic, it's immediate. You use it flawlessly. There are no exceptions. You always move in the direction of what you believe benefits you. You always move away from what you believe does not. The issue is what you believe benefits you or what you believe does not. You can empirically, intellectually know that something is not beneficial and yet see yourself still choosing it. But the idea is the only reason you would do that is because somewhere in your motivational mechanism, you're telling yourself that the alternative is more frightening. You've somehow attached a definition to the thing you prefer that makes it actually seem to be the less scary thing to do. And so you stay with the thing you don't want to do because in your mind you have a definition that to be yourself is scarier. When you find out what that definition is that's making you run away from who you really are, and you identify it, you will see it's nonsensical and illogical and you'll drop it. And then you will move in the direction of what you prefer instead of in the direction of what you don't. But that's how that works. You need to reverse those definitions. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And sometimes I hear you, and
Yes.
when I'm starting to really investigate these core beliefs, and I
Yes.
think I've gotten one,
Yes.
and then it's like a rabbit hole or like a black
Yes.
hole.
There are many secondary and tertiary beliefs that may be attached to the core belief, and sometimes you can find a secondary one and you can let it go, but if you keep doing the same thing, what that tells you is you haven't found the core yet. Dig deeper.
Well, I'm asking this because I feel like I hear you.
Yes.
Would you guide me in that?
These things
term?
usually are issues wrapped around the idea of self-worth.
Yeah.
Well, why don't you deserve what you say you deserve? Are you an exception to the rule?
I don't know. No, I'm not an exception to the rule, but I was going to go to counseling. I don't know. I don't know what the deal is.
Do you feel unworthy of certain things?
I must.
You don't have to assume so.
Well, I kind of do because I keep coming to this. There's like this diametrically opposed. I manifest awesome stuff.
Yes.
And then on this other
All right, one moment.
Yeah.
Let's examine that more specifically, very briefly.
Okay.
The things that you manifest, that you say are in alignment with who you prefer to be, you know what that feels like.
Yes, I do.
You know what that's like. The things that you say you're having some struggle with, what's the difference between those two things in your mind, in your definitions? If you're manifesting here, if you're in alignment here, what reason are you creating to make this in your life different from that in your life? What's the definitional difference between the things you manifest and the things that you don't? Can you answer that question?
That's a big question.
Oh, all right.
The definitional difference.
Yes.
It probably ties back to worthiness, and for some...
But why are you worthy in certain cases and not in others, is what we're asking you. What's the difference between those two situations that you find yourself worthy in one and not in the other? What's the definitional difference?
I don't know.
Sure you do. Why is this okay and that's not?
Maybe in the tertiary, the deep, deep parts of the core belief, I just feel like I can't have it all.
Thank you. Why not?
I don't know.
Who said? Where is that written? Let me help you clarify.
I would love for you to help me clarify.
You're never going to have it all, but you're going to have all of what is relevant for you. That's the difference. You don't need all of it, because all of it's not relevant for who you are. But every single thing that is, you can have all of that. Why would you want anything that's not relevant? So unchain those definitions and make them more specific for you. You don't need it all. So who cares if you never get it all? Everything you need, you will have all of. Yes?
Yeah.
Does this help?
Yes, it does very much.
You deserve everything that's relevant for you. You don't need the things that aren't. But you don't have to wrap up the issue of lack of deservability into the idea that the irrelevant things won't come to you. They're irrelevant. So why even attach the issue of deservability to them? You don't need them. You could say, well, yes, I don't deserve them, but that's not really the issue. The issue is you don't need them. They're not relevant. So don't attach deservability to the idea that you can't have everything that's not relevant to you. That makes no sense.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Does that help clarify a little bit this idea?
Yeah, it does. And I would ask that perhaps if I may hear you more, and so as I journey through this terrain, I can...
We are always, along with many other beings, spirit guides, we are always sending everything it is possible for us to send to help all of you.
Okay.
If you're not receiving it, it's not because we're not sending it.
No, I can feel it.
All right.
Yeah.
Then open up to more of it and understand that when you do, you will know you always have guidance, you always have help, you are never alone, you are never lost. And allow yourself to know that as a fact, so that if you become confused, you can sit for a moment in neutral energy and just let yourself feel the connections that are there and know that you can never really be lost, even when you pretend that you are.
Thank you.
It's an illusion. It's a sham. Do you understand?
Yeah.
You can't be lost. It's a sham. It's an experience. That's real. But it's not empirically true. You can never actually be out of control. You can use your control to make it seem as if you are. but you never actually can be. You can never be disconnected from creation. You can use your free will to make it seem as if you are, but you never actually can be disconnected. If you really were disconnected from creation, you wouldn't exist. And you couldn't create the experience of being disconnected if you actually were. See the paradox?
Yeah.
Learn the power of paradox. Learn to see it clearly. And it will bring you back to center, because paradox is simply the recognition from another point of view that what appear to be polar opposites actually issue from the same center point. Is this helping you?
Very much. And thank you for just everything. I'm very appreciative, and I just want to thank you from my
If
heart.
you are appreciative, then we would suggest that you appreciate yourself that much more. All right?
Thank you.
It is no accident in your language that you use the same term for money as you do for self-worth, appreciation. You want to appreciate yourself, then you will grow with interest. Depreciate yourself, and you will be bankrupt. Look at the analogies you have set up in your own language as reflections. Yes?
Yes.
So, appreciate yourself.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. And may I ask about the little hybrid babies?
Nope.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
I'm not prepared.
You are not prepared for what?
With a question.
Make a statement then.
I would like to thank everyone in this room for being here in this moment in time.
One moment. Your turn. You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you.
And I believe we had a dialogue earlier stating that I wasn't going to be chosen for a question.
And now here you are.
Now here I am to keep me on my toes. So thank
All right. Are you standing on your toes?
you. Yes.
All right.
And,
Is she? All right.
I believe that we are all given divine gifts.
Of course you are. You're all divine. You are divine gifts. It's not something you are given, it's something you are. Because you're made of divinity. Does that make sense?
Thank you. Yes.
You're welcome.
And I have been doing a lot of inner work.
Oh, all right.
And
Hopefully not too much effort.
no, with ease and grace.
All right.
And
Yes.
I am unraveling my gifts, and I am a healer.
Oh, all right.
I've discovered that I'm a healer, and I've discovered, or
Congratulations.
remembered that I'm a healer, and
Congratulations.
that I am a channel for universal consciousness.
All right.
And
Then go and do with it what you will.
I'm trying. I'm doing my best.
I beg your pardon.
I'm doing my best.
All right.
I have 3 small children,
Yes.
so I'm trying to balance
You mean like this big?
5, 3, and 14 months.
Oh, I see. All right.
And I am doing my best and trying to. I'm balancing.
You're doing your best.
I'm doing my best
All right.
in balancing.
Yes. And?
I want to be of service to humanity, but I also
Well, you
want,
are by being yourself and doing your best. That's all you need to do.
Okay.
It's all you can do is your best. If somebody said, I want you to do better than your best, how is that possible? Yes, of course you will always improve. Yes, of course you will change. But at any given moment, if you actually are doing your best, if you are, how can you do better than your best at that moment? It's all you can do. Do your best. In the next moment, if you change, if you know how to do something differently on a different scale, then do your best at that. Of course you will grow. But at any given moment, if you're doing your best, that's the best you can do. And that's all you need to do. That's it. Do you have too many expectations of yourself?
Yes.
Why overburden yourself like that?
I have no idea.
Does it make you think that you're more deserving of whatever it is you achieve?
No.
If you have to suffer for it?
No.
All right. Then why not lighten your load a bit? As we said earlier, lighten up on yourself a bit.
Okay.
Yes?
Yes.
Well, why not? Any reason? Afraid of something? Afraid of someone saying something, thinking badly of you? If you become who
yes.
you wish to be?
Yes.
Who?
Family.
Well, why would they think that? Why would they think badly of you being who you actually are? Is it because they want you to be someone you're not?
Yes.
All right, well, can I ask you a question?
Please.
Is it possible to be someone you're not?
Yes.
It is? How? Enlighten us. How can you be someone you're not? You can, to use your
Try.
word, try to be someone you're not, but you can't be someone you're not. Go ahead, be someone you're not right now.
I believe that we are socially conditioned to the point.
Socially conditioned is a fancy word for pattern and habit. And we already talked about pattern and habit. I am socially conditioned. Oh, how good for you. If you know you're socially conditioned, you're no longer socially conditioned.
Thank you.
So, even though your family may not know this consciously, in their hearts, what they really wish for you, in their spirits, in their souls, in their hearts, is for you to be who you truly are. That's how you honor them. That's how you honor yourself. I know that in their physical minds, they may not think that way, but if you are going to be the good daughter, how about you think better for them?
Can you elaborate?
Think better of yourself on their behalf, if they can't do it for you.
Thank you.
Does that help?
Yes.
Then you will be honoring their legacy, even if they don't know that's what you're doing. Because they really do want you to be who you are, even if they say differently. Make sense?
Yes.
All right. Because if you're not who you really are, if you're trying to be someone you're not really part of their family anyway, are you?
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
All right. So if you really, really, really want to be of the family, then you need to be who you really are. And by doing that, maybe, no guarantees, but maybe you will act as an example for them to also choose to be more of who they are so they can see you through different eyes. They don't have to choose that. And it doesn't matter whether they do or not. It has no effect on what you choose for yourself. But if you're not really willing to be yourself, well, I'll just put it to you this way. This is not being said this way for the purpose of causing guilt. But if you're not really choosing to be yourself, aren't you kind of throwing the gift of life they gave you back in their face?
Yes.
All right. So, be yourself, no matter what they think, because they're not you and you're not them. You're unique. It's all well and good to listen to them for possible guidance. You may have missed a thing or two, and you might want to hear a different point of view now and then, but it's up to you to decide whether or not a point of view someone gives you is true for you. And if you decide that it's truly not, then it's not. So don't live a lie. Live your truth, or you're not living at all. You're just kind of hanging around. There are many people on your planet who are not dead, but they are wandering ghosts. Flesh yourself out. Be fulfilled. Yes?
Yes.
All right. Does this help you?
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
Gratitude.
Hi, Bashar.
And a you good day.
I don't really know that I have a question. I would like clarification.
About?
My life situation. Once upon a time when I was younger, when I wanted to move somewhere, such as Hawaii and Australia and Papua New Guinea, I just got up and moved without fear and without any thought of consequences.
And now?
And now I'm older, and I want to move back to California and...
How old are you?
65.
What a baby. What a young whippersnapper.
Okay, so I'm just saying...
I am 178.
I know.
So what is preventing you from moving where you say you prefer to be?
My issue with money, which I
My
always had
issue
that.
with money.
Yeah, I don't have the money. I don't have the desire to move and take risks and just do it and not know what happens like I used to.
All right, then don't.
I know, and that's what I'm doing. And
You have to honor your belief system. If you don't believe your excitement will support you, but all that means is you don't understand what it means when excitement is complete kit. But that's all right.
okay, so that's it.
You have to honor your belief system. Obviously, you're saying you don't prefer to. So let's examine it step by step. What specifically now looks like a risk that didn't look that way before? And what's the difference between now and then?
The stories in my head about California is expensive and I can't find a job and can't support myself, and
What changed?
I didn't think about those things before. That wasn't even an issue.
Then why are you thinking about them now?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Thank you. Oh, I know you do. You have a good answer in there somewhere. What changed? What changed?
Oh, I'd like to cop out and say life experience, but
All right, well, it's all right. You can say, well, I picked up some ideas along the way.
Okay.
They may not necessarily be in alignment with who I prefer to be, but I picked up some ideas.
okay, I'll go with that.
All right, but if you know that you don't prefer them, why hold on to them? How do they serve you?
They don't serve me.
Well,
I'm
they
saying
obviously must in your mind, or you wouldn't have them.
I'm choosing,
Remember when we talked
yeah,
about the motivational mechanism?
Yeah.
You don't hold on to anything you don't believe serves you, even if it's negative. So how does holding on to these things serve you? What does it prevent you from doing so that you don't go somewhere scary? How are you defining something as scary that you didn't used to define that way? What changed? Why did your definitions change?
I'm hearing inside my head that I've just chosen to be comfortable.
Comfortable. All right.
And that's kind of a cop-out.
Well, all right, if you define comfort as a cop-out, although you don't have to.
Okay.
Oh, I see. You're thinking that because you go through different cycles in life, that something is wrong? That it's not okay to suddenly be different and do things in a different way? It's not okay to be comfortable and take a break? And if you're not doing things the way you used to, then somehow you're not living up to your full potential?
Bingo.
Thank you. All right. Well, you know that that is really nonsense. So why buy into that?
Bingo.
You can go through different phases. You can do things differently. It's all right if you do them differently than before. As long as they're in alignment with who you prefer to be, that's okay. Is that okay?
Yeah, I'm getting the judgment in being comfortable and not being the doer all the time.
It's similar to the idea on your planet that when people experience depression, they're defining their experience in a negative way and so experiencing it as depression, when in fact all it really is the natural compression that happens when you know you're looking for answers that can't be found out there. So you go to where you know they are, within. And you reevaluate yourself and you redefine yourself and you emerge as a new person, literally. But if you define the idea of going within that way to look for answers as something antisocial, something's wrong with you, you're not outgoing anymore, you're withdrawn, if you start defining that idea in a negative way, even though it's a natural mechanism, you will start to experience the negative effects of defining it that way. And it turns into depression instead of compression.
Thank you.
So this is similar. This is why we say it is so absolutely crucial to pay attention to how you define things. Listen to your definitions. Really pay attention to what's going on. When you have an experience, catch yourself. Catch yourself when you label something negatively. This is different from recognizing, simply objectively recognizing that somebody may be doing something negative, mechanistically speaking. The idea, though, is to catch yourself for not assuming that something is simply automatically negative. Do you understand?
Yes.
And when you have more facility with that, then you will say, wait a minute, I don't have to define this state I'm in now as negative. Let me explore. What kind of ideas can I assign to this that are more positive? Even if they turn out to be created through negativity, if you assign the idea that they're there as being positive, then you'll get some positive benefit out of examining them from that point of view, even if they were created negatively to begin with, as we said. Just neutralize it and give it a positive meaning so you can get the positive effect, because remember, you can't perceive what you're not the vibration of. So you can't be inspired as to how the situation could serve you in a positive way if you're not in a positive state first about it.
Okay.
If you're not in a positive relationship with it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right, so when you find yourself, all right, I'm pretty comfortable here, and when you find yourself going, oh, something must be wrong. I'm now not doing this, I'm now not doing that, I'm doing something different. Oh my goodness, what's wrong with me? Catch yourself when you start doing that and say, wait a minute, this doesn't have to be labeled like that. Let me see. What positive ideas could there be for me now changing my behavior, changing the way I'm doing things, changing the way I see something? And start inventing positive labels and start applying them. And then you'll start getting the benefit and you'll get the perspective that will allow you to tell the difference between something that is really a negative act and something that might just be unexpected. Okay. An arrow pointing in an unexpected direction instead of being defined as a brick wall that obstructs you. Yes?
Got it.
Helping?
Yes, thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Happy journey.
Good day.
And good day to you.
So a little earlier, a gentleman asked a question about your ships,
Yes.
how they travel, and I believe you said that part of the equation is identifying a vibration at a particular point that you wish to locate to?
Yes, our perception of the idea of location is different from your typical one. Most people on your planet assume that location is where an object exists. We understand location as one of the properties of the object itself. In other words, if you have an object here and you move it to here, that's a different object.
Okay.
Because now it has a different locational variable in its energy signature. So if you have the object in location A and it has that particular locational variable as part of its makeup, if you can isolate it and impose upon it the vibration of location B, then it has to stop existing at location A and start taking up residence at location B instantaneously.
Okay, great. So thank you. And
Yes.
So the follow-on question then is that possible within the confines of the natural laws of the earth plane? Could we do that here in our physical existence?
Yes, in fact, you're actually doing it all the time.
How so?
Well, as we said, you are shifting through parallel realities billions of times per second.
Okay.
But you're just not looking at it that way.
Okay, well, let's break it down to a practical level. We're
Yes.
in Sedona, and I want to go to dinner in New York City tonight.
Yes.
Possible?
New York City's right here. Okay. Along with Sedona, along with Hong Kong.
Are there specific technologies that need to be developed in order to make that possible, or is it a mind over matter type thing?
Well, it's both, because technology is nothing but an extension of your consciousness, isn't it?
True.
So it's just a matter of what belief system you have and what permission slip you believe you need in order to accomplish something that you're doing with your consciousness anyway. In a sense, it's just a permission slip. So we know that our ships are permission slips.
Okay.
But the idea is that we maintain them for a variety of reasons, not the least of which is so that we can interact with societies such as yours who need to see ships.
Got it. Okay. Understood. Thank you.
All right. You're welcome.
Hello, Tadeo.
Nania.
We are going to ask more people to come up and ask questions, but this is a question from one of our Ustream listeners.
Yes.
And it's, how do I overcome feelings of helplessness in a situation I can't help?
Is that a serious question?
Well, I can reframe it.
No,
for this.
we're joking. And that's one of the ways. The idea is not to make fun of it in the negative sense, but to make it a little lighter. When someone says, I can't help, If there is something you are really, truly unable to do, you don't need to do it. Maybe it's not your job. Maybe helping is allowing someone to learn something on their own and just providing a loving, safe space in which to do it. That's helping. It may seem like there is nothing you can do to help, but just providing a space in which someone can go through an experience of feeling helpless might be the best way to help them come to terms with why they feel that way, why they have created that sensation. Does that make sense?
Well, I'm also thinking of the idea of what about like a child that's in a family situation where they feel powerless and helpless,
Yes.
and they don't know what to do to get out of it, and yet they should be able to apply these principles in the same way that an adult can in some form or fashion.
Many children instinctively do. Of course, many children are taught out of instinctively knowing this. And
Right.
so they have chosen from a higher level to be in a situation where what appears to be certain limitations may be being imposed upon them, primarily for the purpose of ultimately overcoming those limitations, transforming them. So let me give you once again the idea that many of you already know about the butterfly analogy. There was a person who saw a butterfly struggling to break out of its cocoon. And they thought, oh, I'll help. And so they opened the cocoon sooner and let the butterfly out. But because they opened the cocoon sooner, they didn't realize that the butterfly needed the resistance to push against the cocoon so its wings would be strong enough to fly. And by opening the cocoon sooner, the butterfly couldn't fly. It was just butter. So sometimes it is very important for someone to have the ability to discern the difference between what they think might be helping and what is truly helping.
Well, I understand that idea. I'm
Yes.
thinking more about the individual that has actually manifested a situation that they would like to get out of,
Yes.
or they'd like to change the way
But
the
if they're not attracting someone who can actually help them, then
they need to go through that experience. Is that what you would tell a child? You need
they
to
are always capable of attracting help. They need to be taught that they are self-empowered and need to be taught that they can always attract what they need. But if they simply refuse to believe it, the only real help you can give them is a safe space to go through the process they are choosing to go through so they can understand how powerful they actually are on their own. That may be one of the reasons. Of course, you have to take this on a case-by-case basis. Different people may be doing this for different reasons, including children. Sometimes the children will do that to teach an adult something. You have to look at the actual specifics of each situation to know why that particular individual, adult or child, may have placed themselves in that situation. It could be to illustrate something to someone else. It could be to go through a process for themselves. It could be any number of reasons. But you have to know the specific case to know what's going on there.
So I have a nice example that I'm
Oh,
thinking
all right.
of. What if a child is in a situation where the adults are constantly arguing, and so the energy is very heavy and negative around them?
Yes.
And they wish so much that everything would change so that they could feel happy in their situation. And they come
Yes.
to another adult and they say, I need help. I don't like this situation I'm experiencing.
Yes.
What would be the reason that you could explain to that child about why they're having that experience, how to handle it, and
Well, you may have provided the answer yourself in that specific case. Did you hear it when you said it?
but the fact that they went into an adult
Yes.
and asked for the answer to why
Yes.
that is happening?
Yes. They were powerful enough to know that they wouldn't necessarily get the answer from the adults they were living with, so they were powerful enough to know they needed to go to another adult who might actually be able to help. And that means they can help themselves.
But in the meantime, like they might have to wait 5 or 10 years before they can be out of the
The
situation.
specifics of the situation have to be looked at as to what the timing is for any individual.
And do we communicate to that person that regardless of what's happening in their family, that they can still feel joy and happiness,
course.
and they don't have to take that on themselves?
If you teach them that they are self-empowered, then of course. That's the whole idea of bringing your children up to know they are as powerful as they need to be, so they don't have to hurt themselves or anyone else in order to feel that power.
So this is something our teachers, our relatives
Yes.
can do for a child in a situation like
Yes.
that. Share empowering messages with that person. Allow them to recognize that it's not anything wrong with them, that they're in that situation.
Yes.
It doesn't imply that they're powerless. It
No.
simply means that they will eventually be able to use this experience in a positive way that
Yes.
will strengthen them and
Yes.
improve their life.
Yes, these are the things that will be taught eventually on your planet to all children. At the same time, using your own colloquialisms, it is an opportunity for someone to gain compassion for the adults that they see that are living their own nightmares. To put it in your own language, it takes a victim to make a victim. So if they can understand that the only reason that their parents would be going through those negative acts is because they themselves were exposed to something similar, then perhaps they will grow to understand how to help others when they are an adult by having had the example set right in front of their face as to what happens when someone is deprived of the understanding of their self-empowerment. And again, this is why you have to look not only at each case, you have to also look at the long-term issue of the life. Because you may not understand it when the person is a child, but it may be very clear why that happened when the person is finally an adult.
And I can also see where that gives a child an opportunity to really practice the idea of not degrading the self, not choosing to feel helpless regardless of what the circumstances are.
Yes.
Because circumstances don't matter, only state of being matters. So you could actually become very powerful in a situation like that, even if you are a child feeling helpless.
Yes. And again, remember, the idea of having that experience can also allow you to learn to relate to others also having a similar experience, so that if you allow yourself to discover your own power, then maybe you have more ability to also help them discover theirs by having had a similar experience. You speak their language, in other words. It's one of the reasons why, when we make first contact with other civilizations, we choose, colloquially speaking, to have an incarnation, at least one, in that society. Otherwise, we would have nothing to relate to. We would have no idea what you mean when you say, "I'm suffering." We would just go, "What are you talking about?" So by having the experience, we can relate to you, and thus we can provide something that may help you if you align with it. Of course, it's still always your choice. But remember, we also view everyone as a truly eternal, indestructible, infinite being. And the fact that you may be looking at a physical human child doesn't take away from the fact that at their core, they are an infinite, indestructible, infinite being. And that on some level, they know what they're doing. So you can't take that away from them either. Not saying not to help where you can, but if you can't, as we said, if there is something you can't do, that may, maybe not always, but for the most part, may be an indication it's not something you need to do. You may actually be interfering with a process that is required for a variety of things that you can't even fathom.
And that doesn't preclude the idea of if someone is being abused or something like that, that you don't take action.
No. As we said, help where you can. All we're simply saying is, if you can't, then there may be no need for you to do so. You may actually be interfering with something. But if you can, then by all means, of course, you're there for that reason. Yes? Otherwise, you wouldn't be there. You'd be somewhere else. Yes?
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Excitement.
Good day.
Good day, Bashar. Thank you for having me. Not physically.
You're welcome. Not physically.
I have a few questions regarding this planet.
Earth.
Yes. As we experience a higher consciousness, are the plants, beneficial fungus, bacteria also rising with us?
One moment, we are laughing. The reason we are laughing is that you will experience a rise in your consciousness when you align with the higher frequency of the plants. You see, they're laughing too.
All right.
You understand?
I do.
All right. And so, next question.
Yes. Oh, man.
Come on, think like a plant.
Okay, so one of my highest joys
Yes.
is not discovering personally, but coming across bioremediation efforts.
All right, and?
Earth,
Are you involved in that?
I am.
All right, and so that's your excitement, one of them.
That is one of my excitement.
Thank you.
I'd like to see.
Yes. You remember what we said about your actions indicate the energies and changes within yourself that shift you to a parallel version of Earth that's more reflective of the change in you?
Yes.
All right. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Thank you. Next question?
Yes, yes.
All right.
So the structures of pyramids
Yes.
have the ability to amplify seeds, correct?
Yes, some of them. Not all of them, but some of them.
Some.
If they're designed for that, yes.
What if we had pyramids that had the structure was actual crystal,
Yes.
and we
Well, in a sense, it actually is. Rock.
rock? Got it.
And what if?
What if we started incorporating these to radically change our agricultural system?
What if you did? Is that an expression of your excitement?
Yes.
Are you acting on it?
Not yet,
Why not?
because it sounds silly.
It does?
Well, maybe not to the people here.
That might have been a backhanded compliment. Well, really, the only ones to whom it needs not to seem silly are the seeds.
I see.
I seed. Here's the point. When we talk about the idea of something that excites you, please remember it doesn't mean that the thing that excites you has to come to fruition in the way you imagined it, in the way that it appears. But if it excites you, move in that direction and see where it leads. It might lead to exactly where you think, but it might not. It doesn't really matter, because the point is you'll be moving in the direction of your excitement. And if moving in the direction of your excitement about the seeds needs to come to fruition, then it will. If it doesn't, it will lead somewhere else just as exciting. And you will then be the seed that grows. Yes?
Yes.
So just act on it to the best of your ability with no assumption as to where it should lead, how it should look, how you're going to get there, when, why, how. These are things the higher mind already knows. Don't burden the physical mind with things and details that simply weigh it down. Just move, experience, live, act, do, be. Then the higher mind will reveal to you exactly what needed to happen, what those actions will do, what the consequences of the choices of acting on your excitement will be. You don't need to know all that before you act. Many times, thinking that you need to know all that before you act prevents you from acting. Then nothing gets done.
Exactly.
Because if you think about it too much, just about anything is going to seem silly. Yes?
Yes.
Let me give you an example. We know of a place in the universe where there is this ball floating in space. And these little people are stuck to the surface, even as it's whipping around at 1,000 miles an hour. They never seem to spin off. They just go about their business, walking around, la-di-da, thinking nothing of it. And this ball swirling through space is spinning around a giant explosion in space, a giant nuclear furnace in space. And that nuclear furnace, along with the ball and other balls, are whipping through thousands and millions and hundreds of millions of other nuclear furnaces, all rotating through this empty void. Boy, does that sound silly. What kind of a reality is that? Who could survive that? Who could live there? That makes no sense at all. And yet, here you are. Stuck to your little ball, whipping around. Going about your daily business, not feeling a thing. How silly is that?
Well, when you put it that way.
That is exactly our point. When you allow yourself to really design the idea that works for you, there is absolutely no reason to assume that the idea you've created that works for you should work any less than an idea that doesn't align with you. Why assume that all the ideas that don't align with you are supported by creation, but none of the ones that do align with you would be? How silly is that idea? Yes?
Very silly.
All right. You can be good silly. You can be good crazy. Do you understand? That's okay. Go and be good crazy. And when you are good crazy, you will be crazy good. Yes?
Yes.
So experiment, play. These are your building blocks. Play with them. See what happens. Yes?
What are some silly things that you do on SSANI?
I'm doing one right now. Talking to these little people on this swirling ball. Asking all these crazy questions. Hey, look, I'm talking to the... Oh, you're crazy. There's nobody there. Who you talking to? Yourself? Well, yes, and... That's crazy. And yet, it's crazy good.
Are there lots of people on... Well, there are lots of other...
Civilizations?
Well, yes.
Yes.
And are they reaching out to other civilizations as well?
Not all. Some. Some have their own path that allows them to remain relatively isolated. Some reach out. There are many different kinds of civilizations out here. Some beyond your imagining. You simply have no words. You simply have no context for some of them. But many of them you would. Eventually, you're going to be in our position. You're going to find a world. You're going to become their UFOs. You're going to cause them to say, I just saw something streak across the sky. And the others will go, you're crazy. But actually, no, they won't. Because the first world that you will do that with has already been chosen. And you will be those, eventually, in your society, in years to come, who will be guiding them to the stars, as we are guiding you. I am a first contact specialist. This is what gives us joy. But we do many things on our world, and there are many things being done on many other worlds. Yes?
Yes.
Is
And
there
there-
something specific you wish to know about that?
Are they... So here on this planet, and
Yes.
from what my Earth brain, human brain is comprehending, we're
Yes.
trying to reach a higher vibration.
You are reaching a higher vibration.
We are.
If you weren't, we wouldn't be having this conversation, because we don't do pointless things. So if there was no point in talking to you because you're never going to reach the vibration that is at least somewhat comparable to us, we wouldn't be spending our time doing this. But this is an indication in and of itself that you're expanding, is it not?
Mm-hmm.
You do realize you're speaking to an extraterrestrial entity through a biological telephone, yes?
Yes.
Another crazy thing. Yet you're doing it.
The price is right.
All right. And the price is that the experience is priceless. Yes?
Absolutely.
All right. Does this help you?
It does.
Anything else?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It was a lot of fun to experience. Good day.
Oh, thank you. Good day.
It was a lot of fun to experience the minute. I really wanted to ask a question because it's related to the voices that you were introducing earlier
Yes.
today. And the minute I gave up, I'm not getting there fine, but I really gave up.
Yes.
My name was called. So it was fun to experience that.
Yes, thank you.
All right. So the question is, I would like to ask you a personal question. I feel I pretty much know for a fact that my personal exploration, my theme of exploration is the relationships, right?
All right.
And I'm confirming it with you.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. And
It's one of them.
It's one, right? Okay. Probably the main one. So
For now.
for now, right? What I experienced in April earlier this year, I was on the ocean, like, and the sun was rising, and I had this, I call it like an extraterrestrial experience when I felt I was completely gutted, regarded, or whatever, and I felt something was evolving in me, and then
Yes.
my insight later came in. I felt like I'm receiving a new theme of exploration.
All right. Yes,
wrapping-
that happens.
Okay. And I feel like I'm almost like I'm in the between two chairs. The old thing
Yes.
is almost wrapping itself up, and I feel freaking stuck in it.
Stuck in the
Stuck
old.
in it, in the old, yes. In this old, I know it's supposed to be already done, but I'm kind of like
Why is it supposed to be already done?
because I feel like I have all the pieces for me to know what I need to know, and I probably already know on some level, but I'm not willing to see that.
Then you don't have all the pieces.
Okay, so I want to get back to the voices.
Yes.
So it's really been my last 6 months that I was heavily experimenting with voices. Maybe I'll rephrase it. I'm becoming more and more aware of quality of the voices, where they're coming from.
Yes.
I was realizing that the critical voice was coming from a certain, from the lower right part. I mean, I
Yes.
started differentiating, and the higher voice was always coming from the left higher.
All right.
Like it's my experience. And then
That's
I
all
started
right, yes.
experiencing those different layers.
Yes.
And so my biggest question, my burning question that I would love your clarification and guidance in,
All right.
I asked for an answer and I received a synchronistic manifestation.
That's an answer.
Yes. And so I'm like, okay, that's cool. And then I would go in a place of a highest spirituality, highest excitement, and I'll get a whole other confirmation of that synchronistic
Yes.
experience.
Yes.
And then it happened like almost like 4 or 5 months ago. And I feel like on the spiritual level, all of those things happened. But on my physical level, I'm experiencing the opposite of it. And what happens to me, and that's my probably burning question, when I align with that higher, higher
Yes.
vibration and the manifest,
Aligning with the higher vibration then gives you the ability to deal with what's going on the physical level
right.
and allow yourself to not create so much separation in definition between the physical and the spiritual, because the physical is very spiritual.
Right.
So,
Right. So what's happening to me when I kind of like align myself with this one solution, the solution, the other part of me completely rejects and blocks and sabotages that. And when I align with this, the opposite of it, then the other part, and there.
can you be more specific instead of general?
All right. Yes. Shit. Okay. Sorry. Sorry.
Well, if you need to do that, go ahead.
Okay, well, I'm a linguist, so I think I'm allowed in the situation. Okay, so it's a relationship stuff, right?
Yes.
So we broke up.
Yes.
And then I started giving this feeling that we're not done and we're going to be, creating another relationship. So I
Maybe.
asked for a sign.
Yes.
And on the very same day, I haven't seen the person for months. The
Yes.
person, we see each other.
Yes.
And I'm like, okay, well, to me, that was the answer. We're not done. We're going to be possibly having,
Stop.
thank you, God. Thank you. All right.
Even if you never see another person physically in your life ever again, you're never done. Relationships are for the purpose of every person in the relationship, either by their presence or even by their absence, reflecting to the other people in the relationship what the others need to know to allow them to become more of who they are. So whatever dance you do to create either physical proximity or the absence thereof is not really the issue. It's what do you get out of examining the experience? What does it put you in touch with within yourself that you may have needed to see that you may have otherwise not seen unless you created that reflection in that particular way? That's the point of the relationship, regardless of whatever form it may take. Does that make sense?
Yes, theoretically I understand it, but there's a part of me that is really and willing, able, and ready to know what is going to happen to this relationship in the physical realm.
What if I told you you never will know? Until it happens. Would that be all right? I'm asking this for a very specific reason.
Ask me one more time.
Would it be all right if you never actually knew what was going to happen with this relationship until it happened?
Well, then I would say that it's exactly how I feel where I need to be.
Well then, do you believe that? The hesitation usually means no.
No.
All right. Until you do, this will be confusing for you.
I need your help getting past this confusion.
You just got past it, but didn't even see it.
Okay, so help me.
You have to be okay with not knowing how this is going to go.
Okay.
You must trust the way things unfold in your life. Everything that happens is happening for your reasons, even if you can't intellectually fathom them at the moment. The only thing you need to do is when something does happen, including in relationships, is know that it is there for the purpose of reflecting to you more of what you need to know to be more of yourself. So whatever happens, give it a positive meaning, and you will extract a positive and beneficial effect from it, no matter what the circumstance actually is. And then ultimately, you will know why it happened that way, but you may not know before it happens the way it happens.
How would I get to that point? How do I get that piece of myself that will gonna get okay with that? Because
You are the one that creates peace within yourself. No one else can determine that. If you are determining your peace based on the actions of others, you will never be at peace. Ever. You have to simply decide. This is what's required from you. A decision. A decision that you will be the state you prefer to be, regardless of anything else going on. around you. Remember, true change, the measure of true change within you, is not whether the outside world changes to reflect it, but that you respond differently to what's going on, even if it stays the same. That's the measure of true change, because if you've truly changed and you're truly the one determining your state of being, you don't care what's going on. You don't care who comes and goes. It doesn't matter. You can use everything to your benefit and reflect everything back that they could use to their benefit if they choose to. But it doesn't matter whether they do or not, because you know you can use everything that happens to your benefit, because you are the only arbiter of your state of being, and you're not basing your state of being on what's happening outside of you. You are simply making a decision that your state of being is the state of being you prefer, and you are simply giving yourself no other choice.
And I get that, but I got the answer, so I just want to say this to you, what I was really looking for.
By all means.
So I guess where I was not okay is the voices, going back to the earlier conversation that you shared with us,
Yes.
the transmission. So I guess the peace was not coming from me wanting to really know which one of my voices are the true voices.
They're all true voices, even the ones that lie to you. You just have to decide what you want to pay attention to.
Right, and it's the discernment
Yes.
of those voices, and then, I mean, I can deal with them, but
Even simpler than discernment, just make a decision as to what you prefer and what you don't without invalidating what you don't. It's that simple. Keep it simple. Choose what you prefer without invalidating what you don't prefer. It's that simple. Keep it simple, and you won't be confused by anything that happens. You will be empowered to use everything in the most empowering way you can. No matter how it looks, no matter how it comes, no matter who's involved, doesn't matter. Because the circumstance doesn't matter. Only your state of being matters. Circumstance does not determine state of being. You may generate a circumstance to reflect a state of being, even magnify, amplify, and reinforce it, but the circumstance was created by a state of being first. State of being always comes first. There can be no circumstance without it. So when you see a circumstance, decide what your state of being is that you prefer, and that will be the way the circumstance is experienced in your life, through that state of being. Yes?
So what a piece that I got that, my first answer that I thought I got was the answer that once I align with myself and stay in that state of being,
Yes.
then when something happens, whatever way it happens, then I will know which voice was correct and not correct. But what I finally heard you say, which is really cool,
Yes.
is that what you were actually saying to me that I was asking about
Yes.
is to make the decision right now, and
Yes.
that can be something else,
Yes.
and the decision is up to me.
It is absolutely up to you. Who else is in your reality but you?
Yeah,
No one.
yeah. So I have to process that, but that was
Oh,
great.
all right, if you insist.
Thank you so much.
You are so welcome.
Great, got it. Good day, Bashar.
And a you good day.
All right, it's been great, especially great.
In the past?
In the past, so-so.
So-so.
Now it's been accelerating because I've been putting a positive spin on it.
All right, thank
Yeah,
you for
thank
using
you.
the tool.
For sure. I was thinking the other night, when you were saying you are all that is, and there's nothing outside
Yes.
all that is.
Yes.
Does that mean, that leads me to think either distance is either an illusion.
It is.
Ah.
There is no outside.
No outside. It doesn't keep going farther and farther and farther and farther and farther forever.
In the illusion it does,
In the illusion
but it's
it
just an
does.
illusion. Everything is here and now. There is nowhere else.
I felt like someone showed me that when I was really young, like 5 years old. In a
Most
dream, maybe.
children are aware of these things and then they are taught out of them or forget
Understood.
them for a variety of reasons.
So it is an illusion.
Yes, but that doesn't mean the experience isn't real.
Understood. Another thing I was thinking of that we were talking about, well, like for now, for instance, things are going wonderful in my life.
Yes.
Yeah, accelerating all that.
Yes.
In the past, not.
One moment.
Sure.
One moment.
Sure.
Just to point out, just to be precise, not saying you're saying this,
Okay.
but just to be precise and take advantage of what you just said, when you say, for right now, things are going wonderful in my life.
Right.
To many people, when they hear that sentence structure and they feel the tonality in it, it implies that they could go otherwise. There is no otherwise. That's our point. Right now, things are wonderful. Right now, things are wonderful. Right now, things are wonderful, and it can never be otherwise.
So, thank you. If it could never be otherwise,
Yes.
if I thought if the past is an illusion and the past didn't seem so hot, so to speak,
Yes.
is there some parallel version of me that is doing great, and then is there a constant parallel version of me doing not so great, or is it
Yes.
only...
Yes, yes,
It is-
yes.
so-
Everything you can imagine.
Is there always a constant person suffering?
Yes.
That's not good.
Why not?
Well, for the person who's suffering, he's suffering
Let me
forever?
ask you a question.
Okay.
Taking the illusion of the void of space,
Okay.
yes?
Yes.
How is it that when you look up at the night sky that you can actually see the stars?
I don't understand.
I know you don't. You can look up at the night sky and see the stars because darkness surrounds them.
Well, that's great. All right.
Without the darkness, there is no sense of light.
Understood.
Now, the idea, of course, again, is that to all that is, all things are equal. And what you may call suffering from one level is not necessarily experienced that way on every level.
Okay.
Nevertheless, it exists as an experience, and it's valid as an experience, if for no other reason that you realize it's not an experience you prefer. But in order for you to realize that, you have to have the experience. Yes?
Understood. Yes.
All right. And then that gives you the opportunity to choose what you prefer without invalidating what you don't prefer.
Don't prefer.
And by not invalidating what you don't prefer, you actually take the wind out of suffering.
Oh, that sounds great.
Make sense?
Yes, for sure. Last statement is, so the real you...
Are you speaking of us personally?
Of everybody. The real you, the
Yes,
real you.
the all that is.
The all that is.
Yes.
Everybody is the all that is.
Yes.
So the all that is not, so to speak, alone or lonely. All
No.
that is.
No.
Because it's everybody.
And it is also alone and lonely, because it's all that is.
That's beautiful.
Remember, it's this and that, not this or
This
that.
and that. Excellent.
Yes.
Thank you, Bashar.
You are welcome. Thank you. You may now take a short break. We will resume the transmission with your holotope meditation. On it'll say, let us continue this transmission in the following way. Allow yourselves to relax. Allow yourselves to breathe evenly and deeply, and keep your eyes focused on the center of the holotope. You may allow your lights to begin. You may allow your experience to begin, and just allow yourself to drift into the sights and sounds that will accompany this particular journey that we will take together this day of your time. Allow yourselves to realize, as you begin to relax and allow your sights and sounds to begin, that you can allow yourself to let go. Let go for the moment. Let go of the day. Let go of the night. Just be here with us now in this place of in-betweenness. Breathing deeply, gently, softly. Feeling your body relax. Your limbs relax. Your neck relax. Your jaw relax. And all the tension that may be there melting away, drifting away, as you feel yourself floating in an infinite void of infinite possibilities. Just float and breathe and gaze upon the eye of creation in the reflective mirror before you. For you are looking upon yourself, the greater being that you are. Breathe it in and relax and absorb and know that just as depicted by the image in your eyes, you are made of infinite perspectives, infinite ideas, infinite inspirations, an infinite chorus of voices, of resonance, of song, all orchestrated, all harmonizing, all delivering the information that you need, that you require at any given moment, in sight and sound and feeling and tone. Allow yourself with every breath to inhale knowledge and exhale experience. The voices as they may come up every day in every way, allow yourself to know them, to recognize them, to speak to them, but to know their place within you. Though there may be those voices that arise from time to time that may criticize, that may seduce, know that there will always be choice in your ability to listen to the voices that set your heart free, that set your soul alight, that raise your spirit on high. For there will always be those voices too. They never leave you. They are eternal. They are infinite. They are all together the chorus that is the voice of all that is, in all of its harmonies, in all of its melodies, in all of its frequencies. The voice is always speaking to you. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word is God, is all that is knowingness, is the certainty of who and what you truly are, as a perspective of the infinite, as an aspect of creation, as a facet of the multidimensional crystal of all that is. Listen to the voices of reason within you. Listen to the voices of guidance. Listen to the voice of inspiration. Listen to the voice of creation. Listen to the voice of unconditional love. Listen to the voice of joy. Listen to the voice of passion. Listen to the voice of beingness. For all of these voices are your voices. And with these voices, you weave the story of your life, your experience, your journey. You are the storyteller, the ultimate voice of experience, the ultimate authority of your life, the knower of the way, the higher mind, inviting you into more of yourself. Accept the invitation delivered by that voice. For in that voice is the promise of discovery, is the promise of expansion, is the promise of awakening, is the promise of the dream, is the promise of life itself, is the promise of existence itself, is the promise of all that is, that you are never alone and yet you are all one. This is the story of your life, told by the voices within. Tell that story, the story that you prefer, the story that you cherish, the story that enlightens you and allows you to float freely, at ease, at peace. Tell yourself the story with the voice of peace, the voice of love, the voice of life. You are all perspectives that you can possibly be. Let in all of the voices that ring true to you, for they are all mirrors reflecting the light of your inner spark of consciousness, of your spirit. Be at peace. Take a deep breath in and let it out. Take a deep breath in and let it out. Take a deep breath in and hold it, and hold it, and hold it. And blow it out as the voice of the wind that clears away all of the old and makes way for the new. The crystal clarion call, the bell that rings true. Light and life, love and live. Just be you. It's all you need to be. The simple voice of your own truth, of who you truly are. Be that you as best as you can, for that is all you need to do. That is all you need to do. That is all you need to do. Drift freely now upon an infinite sea of stars and feel their light upon you and hear their voices, the songs of the spheres of infinite creation ringing in your ears, lulling you to sleep to dream, and to awaken in a new reality with a new voice that speaks clear and true and is never afraid to speak of who you are, to let others see and know and hear who you are, so they too can receive from you that gift of clarity for themselves, so they may also speak with their true voice. And you are, even as two voices, simply one voice, echoing to itself the truth over and over, that you are all that is, and there is no other. For what others you may find, and what other voices you may hear, they are but the one voice from different directions, guiding you, framing you, centering you, being you in all the ways you can be. Speak with the voice of grace. Speak with the voice of gratitude. Speak with the voice of appreciation. Speak with the voice that is your voice, unique and beautiful. And crystal clear. Breathe it in now, once again, and make it your own. For it always has been, is now, and always shall be your own voice that you will always hear, for it is the voice of all that is. Relax now in peace and be free to be who you know you are. For there is no other voice leading you anywhere but your own. In all the forms in which it may come, recognize it as your own. Through all the filters it may issue, recognize it as your own. Through all the songs it may sing and all the stories that voice may tell, recognize yourself as the storyteller. Recognize yourself as the voice. Be that voice for others as you are that voice for yourself, so that others may hear their own voice in yours. Allow yourselves now to soften, to allow your lights and sounds to soften and fade away until there is naught but the voice of your own breath, the voice of your own heart, the voice of your own spirit, the voice of your own body. Let sight and sound drift away and soften and soften and soften. Let the music fade. Let the lights fade, so that in the voice of silence you may hear the truth of your own being. And that truth is that you are made of unconditional love. You are the light of all that is. We bid you peace. We bid you love. Awaken in your dreams and live them, so that you may know yourself
Be at peace. Breathe in and breathe out, and be the breath itself. Be free. Our love to you all. Sweet dreams.